Renting in London is just so difficult. Trying to find somewhere to rent is like mission impossible. It's a full-time job. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abby and I make productivity and corporate lifestyle videos. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you all about the London renting market because I am moving house, and let me tell you, it is not a fun experience moving house in London. So I'm sure you'll have heard before that renting in London is very expensive, and that is completely true. But also renting in London is just so difficult. Trying to find somewhere to rent is like mission impossible. It's a full-time job. Anyone who's ever tried to rent in London will know what I'm talking about. It is just chaos. I thought I'm gonna make a video on how it works, tips, tricks, where is good to live, where is gonna cost you the most money, and then I am gonna take you through my journey because obviously, as I said, I am moving out, and so recently I have been going to viewings and basically just trying to find somewhere to live. So I'm going to take you through that. I have not filmed throughout the journey because it was not an enjoyable one. You did not want to see clips of me during that process. I was very stressed and did not enjoy it at all. Renting in London is not a case of like, oh, let's line up loads of beautiful properties and go and view them and see what we love and like pick between them because we love them all. No, well, actually, I'm sure it is like that if you have lots of money. I'm sure you view beautiful premium apartments and get to choose between them all. But when you're renting in London on a budget, it is not fun at all. It is so stressful. Estate agents, they don't lie, but they really do twist the truth. Yeah, it's like people trying to convince you to live in a hole for weeks until you finally find like a piece of gold in the mess of not gold things. So that is why I didn't film throughout. However, I'm now going to take you through my experience, and then I'm going to take you through some of my viewings. Now, obviously I can't show you all of my viewings because some of the properties I viewed still had people living in them, and I wouldn't really want to put other people's stuff on the internet. So I won't show you those ones, but I viewed a lot of properties that were vacant, and so I will show you all of those, and I will talk you through why we didn't go for them, what was wrong with them, what we liked about them, etc. First, I'm going to talk to you about the market itself, how it works, and then go into my tips and tricks about renting in London, and then we'll get to viewings. So, the market. I don't even want to talk about it. Basically, prices are extortionate and they're only getting higher, and it's actually just painful to look at. So you will put into like Zoopla or Rightmove your budget, and honestly, what comes up is terrifying. What you have to do is you have to get through all the horrible places, and then a nice place will come up. But the issue with the nice places is that they go instantly. Like, I mean, before they're even on the market, they're gone. So not only are prices just horrendous, but the demand is so high, hence again why they could put the prices up so high. Things will be gone before they even make it onto the market. And with the demand, people also offer higher than asking. So something might go on the market for example, 4K, people will offer 4.2, 4.3 if they really want it. And then say 4K is your budget, you're pretty stuck there. So that's a quick overview of the market. But now I'm going to go into kind of how prices actually vary. So obviously you've got London, and I'll put a map up on the screen. Where you live between like zone 1 and 5 massively determines the price, which obviously makes sense, but it really affects what you can get for your money. And the things that impact it are how close you are to the centre. Generally speaking, things get slightly cheaper the further you go out from, I would say, like London, if we call London Bridge the centre, further you go out from there. However, that's not definite. In general, the north is slightly cheaper than the south, in my opinion. I've not looked massively at the north because I've always lived in the south. But when I do look, I do feel like you can get a little bit more for your money in the north. But I think that's because they're two completely different places. And I think in general, the south is nicer than the north, but that is just personal opinion. I have friends that love the north. I think it really is just where you end up when you first move to London. If you first live in the north, you love the north, and if you first live in the south, you love the south. The thing that makes a huge difference to price is distance to a tube. Now in London, not many people have cars. I don't have a car in London. Pretty much everyone gets the tube, overground trains or buses. Everyone uses public transport. There's like very limited parking spaces either outside housing or anywhere you want to go. Like, you couldn't drive to Oxford Street, you couldn't drive to work, so it seems silly to have cars. But because of this, properties that are near a tube station or an overground station are much more sought after than properties that are, say, 20 minutes walking distance from a station of some sort. Even though you can get buses, usually buses aren't the one. I personally wouldn't live somewhere that was far from a station. Even if I could get on a bus, buses are slower, buses are less convenient. Yeah, they don't do it for me. So if you want to live near a tube or an overground, you will pay the price. But then there's even more differentiation between those. If you're happy living near an overground, you will get so much more for your money. So you can live in, let's say for an example, Wandsworth. I'll show you on the map where Wandsworth is. and this will be near an overground. There's no tubes in Wandsworth, but you could live in like a really nice big house, open plan kitchen, bifold doors, big rooms, everything lovely, for the same price as you could live in somewhere where's near Wandsworth, kind of the same distance out, probably Clapham, for the same price as a tiny place in Clapham. And the difference is because in Clapham you're near the tube, and in Wandsworth you're near an overground, and that is a huge price difference. So if you want to be near a tube, like, you will pay the price for that. If you're happy with an overground, you will get more for your money in terms of the property. But for me, I want to be near a tube. Getting to work, I need the tube. The overground doesn't cut it for me. Like, I could get on the overground, but it would just take longer. I personally think they're less reliable. I'm just not a fan of the overground. Like, if I could be near a tube, I would always choose that over any other type of transport. And then even more expensive is then your walking distance to the tube. So if you're 15 minutes from the tube, you'll get really good value for money on your property. You'll get like a nice property for where it's based. However, you've got that 15-minute walk. If you want to be right next to the tube, you will be paying a lot more. And it sounds silly, like, why would you pay so much more to be near the tube? Or why would you downsize so much to be near a tube? But that's 15 minutes you'll be adding on every single day to and from work. So say it takes 20 minutes on the tube to get to work. It now takes you 35 minutes to get to work. So for me, being near a tube is just like essential. Like, it's not even a question. Like, I really reluctantly consider anything that isn't a good walking distance from a tube. Like, my max is like 10 minutes, and I'm a speedy walker, so, you know, I can do it in like 8. They also look at renting terms. So if you're going to put an offer in for 2 years, over a year, you might be more likely to get the property. And they do look at your jobs. So the more you earn / the more stable your job is, the more likely you are to get an offer accepted on a property, because obviously then they know you're always going to pay your bills. You're never going to say, oh, I can't afford rent this month. So from all of the above, if you want to live in London and you want it to be cheaper, you want to live somewhere in East. I'll put circles on the map. Somewhere in East, because here there are very minimal tube connections and it's mostly overground or buses. Somewhere in Southwest between tube lines, so directly down is a Northern Line. If you're in this other area, that's where Wandsworth is, Clapham Junction, you'll pay less because it's near an overground, there are no tubes there, so you'll be getting buses or overgrounds to commute anywhere. I don't know much about the North, but yeah, in general, I think you do get more value for money in the North. Kensington and Chelsea is just known for being expensive. It is just a really nice, expensive area. I don't even think we even looked at properties there because it is just like there would be nothing in the budget there. And along the Northern Line, the properties are affordable, but they're not great value for money. Like, you will be living in a smaller place, but it's because you're in such a commutable line, especially for people that work in the city. The Northern Line is like the ideal line. If you watch like people's day in their lives on TikToks of like corporate people in London, that they are always on the Northern Line because it is just commuter central. So that is an overview on the market and how much things are costing. Actually, let me give you some prices. I personally think it's like silly to rent as an individual in London, like rent as one person, because you will just be paying extortionate prices for yourself when, I don't know, if you can handle living with someone else, you would just save so much money. So if you're renting as a singular person and you're going to get a small flat in an okay location, probably near a tube, you're looking at like 1.6 to 2k for like you as an individual person per month, which I think is ludicrous. So I will always house share, rent share, like until I buy my own house. So if you're living with sharers, so other corporate professionals, friends, family, whatever, you're looking at about £1,000 per month. Give or take. You know, you could get something below if you're lucky. You're likely to go slightly above if it's somewhere you really like. But that is looking at near the tube, reasonable place, not too far out of central London. If you want a really nice big house, you're looking at much further out, or you're looking at much more expensive. In fact, I don't even think nice big houses exist in like the central area that aren't like 2-3k per person. I don't know. I didn't look at that budget. Okay, so that is an overview of the market. Now I'm going to tell you all about my journey. Okay, so I currently live in a 2-bedroom flat in zone 1. So I'm like super central. I'm really near a tube. I live with one other person who's a friend from uni, and we had a 1-year tenancy and it's just coming to an end, and we decided, you know what, we want to change. It's a very small flat. We don't really have a living room. It's more of like a kitchen living room area, which is fine. It's just small. We don't have a garden. And we just decided we just wanted a bit more for our money. Now, one way to get more for your money living in London is to share with more people, because obviously if you are living with like 3 or 4 people, you're likely to need a house, and then with a house usually comes a garden. You get things like a dishwasher, a nice big living room, like things like that usually come when you've got more people. It's not definite. You'll see in some of the viewings we did, you don't always get that. But yeah, so we were like, we want to live with some more people to get more value for our money, because we don't really want to be paying any more than 1k for those things. However, because you move out when your tenancy ends, this doesn't normally align with all of your friends. So like a lot of our friends are in tenancies that end at a much later date, or they're happy with where they live and don't want to move. So it was just the two of us, and we thought, okay, how can we live with more people? So we found this Facebook group called Gals Who Rent, and we posted on there and just said like, hey, we're 2 girls looking for between like 1 to 3 other girls to live with. We're moving out at the end of March. We said a bit about ourselves, and from this we got messages from people saying like, hey, we're looking at the same time period for the same budget, like feel like we might get along. So we then had a call with one of the girls, and we all got along really well, and we all decided, yeah, we all want to live together. And then we met up with another girl, and then all got along really well again, decided we were going to live together. So we kind of like locked it in as a 4, and we got like super lucky with these girls. Like I really didn't think this would work, posting on this Facebook. I thought, this is just, it's just never going to work. Things like that don't work out. But yeah, I feel like we got super lucky. We get along really well. We've all been for like drinks and things. So we ended up being a 4. So now we've got 4 of us, and we are all looking for very similar things, similar budgets, similar area. We were looking in southwest London predominantly. And for me, I just want to be near a tube, near parks, near cafes, just near lovely things. I don't want to have a huge commute, and I didn't want to live anywhere that was too like dingy and dark or like small. So how did we go about house hunting? Now, I said earlier in the video that if you just go on Zoopla or Rightmove, a lot of the properties, particularly the nice ones, will just be gone before you even ring up the estate agent. They're already gone. So what you need to do is, rather than just looking for places to rent, you need to be like one step ahead of the game, and you need to be like ringing estate agents, telling them, we're a house of 4, this is our budget, this is what we're looking for, these are our non-negotiables, and they will put you in their system, and then they will send you properties before they go on the market. So we all called up pretty much every single estate agent in the whole of South London, and we gave them our details, what we were looking for, and then from that moment onwards, they then knew if anything was to come up, any 4 beds were to come up, they would send them our way. Now it sounds great, because it sounds like great, you've just handed the job over to someone else and they'll sort it, but the problem is hardly anything comes up, and when it does, estate agents obviously really want to sell their properties, so they will try and sell you dreams, and they will kind of like, I don't want to say lie, it is kind of lying, I get it's their job, so like, no hate towards that, but they'll ring you up and be like, oh, you've got this great property, it's like 10 minutes from the tube, it's in a really great location, super big rooms. And I go, okay, can you like send me some pictures, send me the location? And then like you look at the location on like Google Maps, it's like 20 minutes from a tube. And it's like, not quite 10. And you'll look at the pictures and it's like just hideous, or the rooms are tiny. I did one viewing with an estate agent actually. And we went into this house, it was horrible. I knew from the minute I stepped in, like it was not gonna happen. And we went into one of the bedrooms and she was like, as you can see, it's super spacious. We couldn't both fit in the room. Like we were genuinely like trying to get in the room. And I was like, girl, we're still in the same room. Like, let's be real. So yeah, anyway, you ring the estate agents and you give them all your details and you just hope for the best. And then once we did that, it is simply a case of every single morning, and I kid you not, every single morning, all 4 of us were checking Rightmove, Zoopla, Open Rent, any property site that we could find, checking, because the minute something goes up at 9 a.m. in the morning, there is a chance it will be sold, like rented out by the evening. So you need to see it if you want it. So we would spend like the morning like seeing things come up, inquiring, booking and viewings, like non-stop process. And obviously like we've all got full-time jobs, so this was so stressful. So yeah, that was the process, and this is what I mean by it was just chaos. The minute you'd see something you liked, you'd put it in the group chat and you'd all be like, yeah, love it, ring, gone. So yeah, it was really soul destroying as well, because you'd get your hopes up, you'd see something you love and you'd be like, oh my gosh, I could live here, and then it would just always be gone, and then you'd be back to square one, or back with the dingy, terrifying house in the middle of nowhere. But we stayed hopeful and we started doing viewings, and in total we searched for 2 months and we did about 15 to 20 viewings, which I think is a lot. And yeah, like it'd be most evenings one of us would be at a viewing somewhere. So I'm going to take you through some of these viewings just so you can get a real feel for what I've been talking about throughout this video. I can't show you all of the viewings because I don't want to show like people's bedrooms with all of their stuff in. I feel like that's a bit rude, but I will show you all of the viewings that we did that were vacant, and I'll show you any clips I can from any properties where people's stuff is not in it. Okay, I'm going to start us off strong by showing you a nice one. Okay, welcome to one of the nicest viewings we actually did. So this was a 4-bedroom house in Oval. It was on the market for £3,900. It was about 10 minutes from the tube and is in a really nice gated area where the landlord apparently only kind of goes for young female professionals, which makes the area feel really safe. The kitchen was quite small, but then it did have a big living room and conservatory and a garden, which you really don't get very much. And the aesthetics of the place were really nice, and most of the rooms were a pretty decent size. It also had 2 big bathrooms, which I really loved, and baths, which you don't always get. There's 2 baths, so there's this bathroom is the exact same one downstairs, so we kind of like have, for every 2 there'd be a bathroom basically. Then this is one of the medium-sized rooms. I was thinking if you flip that bed that way, we could put a desk there, and then you've got just like storage. This is a wardrobe built in with railing. However, the issue with this house, which you'll see in a minute, was one of the rooms was tiny, like pretty much unlivable. And then this is the small room. No, that's not. You'd need a different wardrobe. There's storage under the beds, which is really ideal. So we initially decided against this house because of that very small room. However, the price then dropped to $3,600 per month. And so we put an offer in and we did actually get accepted, but we decided to go for something else, which you will see at the end. But yeah, this was definitely up there. Okay, on to another viewing. Now, this was the biggest catfish I have ever seen in my life. These are the images put up of the house. This is what I went to go and view, and this is what I walked into. I was pretty mortified. Nothing looked like the images. I'm pretty sure the images were AI generated or something. This room here is the living room. They used that room as a bedroom for the images and called it a master bedroom when none of the bedrooms actually look like that. They're quite hideous. Like, what is going on here? And then, yeah, as you can see, they're clearly renovating the house or something, which is so fine, but I did not trust that this was going to turn out nice after the renovation. I mean, look at that furniture. That is not nice at all. So yeah, this was a massive train wreck, which was really annoying because I had really high hopes for this one, especially considering the price. $3,400 is so unreal. And yes, it's in Tooting Bec, which is a little further out. However, it was super close to the tube, I think about 4 minutes from the tube. But yeah, this was an obvious no. Okay, now welcome to one of the most beautiful properties we viewed. Now, this had people living in it, so I can only show you tiny bits of it, but it was the most beautiful house I've ever seen. However, it was on the market for $4,200, which was over our budget, and it was in Tooting Broadway, which is quite far out the centre. It was about 7 minutes from a tube, which isn't bad at all, but in terms of like Ubers from work and things, it would have been quite long. But how beautiful is this kitchen? And it also had a really nice big garden, and all of the rooms were really well sized and really aesthetic and nice. However, the move-in date was also too late for us. It was about a month after the date we needed to move out of our current flat, which just made it really difficult, and we couldn't all agree on it, and so we decided to let this one go. But yeah, this was definitely the nicest place we saw. Like, I was shocked we even had anything like this in the budget. But yeah, the location and move-in date were really not ideal. Okay, so this next viewing is in Balham, and I had really high hopes for this one because Balham is such a lovely place. It's beautiful, it's a lovely place to live, it's commutable, and for $3,400 this was a steal. But the reason it was a steal is because it was basically a uni house. So as you can see, each bedroom has, like, it's a good size, and every bedroom's got an ensuite, which is great, except this one actually, but this one gets its own private bathroom. However, there was no living room, so they've obviously turned the living room into a bedroom, which is what made it a 4-bedroom flat, but it just made it so non-homely, and that's just not what we wanted. Like, we want a home, like, we're living our actual real adult life. We didn't want to live in a uni house. It also had a massive communal garden, which was shared by like so many flats, which we really didn't love, and to be fair, the aesthetic wasn't our favourite. Some of the rooms were a bit dingy and ugly. Okay, so this next viewing we actually quite liked. This was Oval again, $4,200 per month, which was over our budget. However, the aesthetic was lovely. Like, it was so gorgeous inside. The rooms were a really good size. The location again was in a gated area, which is really nice. However, 2 of the rooms were actually in the basement, so they were like below ground floor, and they looked nice and they had a little bit of light, you'll see in this next picture. However, there was a bit of damp on the wall, and we just thought, who's actually going to want to live in the basement? The basement rooms really put us off, so we put an offer in below asking. I think we went in at 4K, and the landlord said they wouldn't budge. So we didn't want to go any higher because of the basement room, so we left that one. Okay, so the next one's actually really nice and is an incredible price. 3,200 is insane. However, it's because it's in Streatham Hill, and Streatham Hill only has an overground, so it'd be quite difficult to get to work, probably cost a little bit more and have to get like more than one train. I can only show you downstairs because this property was being lived in. However, it also didn't have a garden, and so we decided not to put an offer in. Okay guys, now we have reached my house. Now I can literally only show you this tiny clip of like a kitchen and a bathroom because the current tenants' things are still in all the bedrooms and things. However, this is one of our bathrooms. The aesthetic of this house was so lovely. It's super homely, really good size. This is the kitchen, really nice, good sized kitchen, got a microwave. There's a dishwasher behind me that needs to get fixed just there, but they'll fix that before we move in. And then we've got a little garden, and we actually went in under asking. It was on for 4,250 and we went in at 4.1 and got accepted. So that was really exciting. So yeah, that is a selection of some of the properties we viewed. That's not all of them, as I said, but I hope that gives you an overview of how difficult it was to find somewhere. Like everywhere you find, it's either not what it said it was, the area is not nice at all, or there's just like a big problem with it, like damp, or one of the rooms is not possible to live in, so it's not actually a 4-bed, it's a 3-bed, or it is a 4-bed but they've turned the living room into a bedroom, so it's just a uni house. So yeah, it was really tricky, but we did find somewhere. We did a viewing. Actually, I'm the only one that's viewed this property. The rest of the girls haven't actually viewed it, so I really hope that we do like it when we move in, because otherwise it's kind of on me. Honestly, I'm just glad the stress is over, because I'm moving out really soon and it was getting so close and I was stressed. Like, I was so stressed. Like, every day it was all I thought about, and I just was so aware that we had to move out soon. We were actually choosing between 3, so the Tooting Broadway one that you'll have just seen and the oval one that you'll have just seen were our 2 other options. We were toying between the 3 of them. We were kind of weighing up the location vs the room sizes vs the aesthetics. Obviously the Tooting Broadway one was kind of like the nicest aesthetic. It was like the most beautiful house in the world, but it was like quite far out and like the area wasn't amazing, and it was out of our budget, that one 4.2, and so it just didn't really fit for everyone. The oval one was really nice. It did have like a very small room, and the location, again, even though it's quite central, like I think oval is just outside zone 1, it's a bit of a dead zone, like nothing really happens there, like there's not much going on. So yeah, so we ended up choosing the 3rd option, which I think it was a good choice. I really hope it's a good choice. We'll know when we move in and see if we like it. At least we've got somewhere to live. That is the most important thing. And of course, I will film a moving vlog. Well, I'll try to film a moving vlog. Oh my gosh, guys, I got a new vlogging camera. Ta-da! And I've not actually used it yet, which is kind of criminal because why did I buy it? How cute is that? I can like do this and then I can see what's actually in the video, because my vlogs are so atrocious because I use my phone and I can't see anything. So I'm just strolling around with this camera in my face thinking, I hope I'm in it. And usually like, it's like here at my face. So this will solve that. But yeah, I'm going to do a moving vlog and I will hopefully use my new camera. And then obviously you will see a little bit more of the property. But yeah, so after a very stressful experience, we have found somewhere to live. We have found lovely people to live with. So overall, I would call my moving experience a success. It was chaotic and difficult, but it was a success. Actually, touch wood, we've not moved in yet. And yeah, I hope that gives you some background on moving in London, where you can move, how to move, what costs what. And it is really possible to move to London on a budget. Like, you really can get places that are like £700 a month. They're just going to be further out, or they're going to be far from an underground, possibly near an overground, maybe even far from an overground and near a bus. But it's possible. If you want to live in London and your budget is 6, 7, 8k, you'd be sorted. 6, 7, 800. It is possible. Just don't expect great transport links, or don't expect to live somewhere nice. Like, it will be tiny, it will be a bit dingy. So yeah, it's kind of what matters to you. I know quite a few people that live in like really lovely places, but they cycle, so they're not stressed about transport links because they cycle, so they don't care how far away they are from transport links because they'll just cycle everywhere. So yeah, it's really what matters the most to you. And also, if you are moving to London and you're on your own, or there's a few of you, you can go on things like the Facebook pages that I went on, Gals Who Rent. There's other ones called like there's one for Clapham, I think, like Clapham houses to rent. There's loads of them for all areas, and people honestly do just post, even on their own, like, hey, my name is so and so, I'm this old, this is what I do, this is me, does anyone have a spare room I can live in? It's like a really daunting process, but I feel like everyone is actually quite friendly, and obviously, you know, avoid people that look scary. And I do think you can get much better deals if you're moving on your own to London, by joining a house share, you can get much better deals than if you try and rent somewhere new, either on your own or with other people, because every time a property is put back on the market, I think they put the rent up. So if you join an existing house share, the likelihood is that rent is lower where they've not been putting the prices up year on year because it's been like a fixed contract or something. But yeah, that is my house hunting journey in London. If you have any questions, do let me know, or if you have any funny experiences, also let me know. And I hope you enjoyed, and the moving vlog will be here at some point. I move at the start of April, so it'll be at some point after that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.